Let's go back millions of years to the arid lands of Pangaea, the largest continent on Earth. Thousands of kilometers away from the oceans in this barren land, the sky suddenly darkened. Our time-traveling visitors observing the history of the Earth from space witnessed the first drops of a great transformation. The rain began. But this was no ordinary downpour. It was a rain that would last 1,000,000 years and change the future of the planet forever. On the western coast of Pangaea, where present-day Canada is located, massive volcanic eruptions set off a chain reaction. These eruptions normally lead to mass extinctions, but this time the result was quite different. It was perhaps the biggest surprise in the history of evolution. The rains that followed the catastrophe created a new world where dinosaurs could rule. Before the Big Bang, Pangaea's dry period. 300 million years ago, during the Carboniferous period, the vast interior of Pangaea was a harsh landscape characterized by scorching heat and arid winds. Far from the moisture brought in by the seas, only the hardiest species could survive. Arthropods such as giant dragonflies, spiders, and arthropods such as the giant dragonflies managed to create a habitat for themselves in this harsh environment. But the real winners of this land were the reptiles called dipsids. These creatures, the ancestors of snakes, lizards, and archosaurs, would become the most powerful species on Earth in the future. The archosaurs in particular were the ancestors of the dinosaurs, which, with their huge size and unique adaptations, would later become the most dominant creatures on the planet. However, the Earth was always in flux, and these changes were often triggered by violent natural events. Asteroid impacts have caused the kind of catastrophic disasters we are used to seeing in Hollywood films, but the real threat lies deep within the planet. Huge igneous masses moving in the Earth's inner layers were impatient to reach the surface. The enormous energy accumulating beneath the Earth's crust was preparing for a massive explosion that would irrevocably change life on Earth. Apocalypse rising from the deep. The Earth's crust is much thinner than we think. If we think of the Earth as a giant book, all life on it would only fit on a tiny page. Just beneath that page is the hot, dense magma that runs through the veins of the planet. From time to time, this hot layer of rock rises up in huge columns and finds its way to the surface of the Earth. This is exactly what happened millions of years ago in the Wrangelian Great Igneous Province. It was the unleashing of one of the greatest forces of nature. Volcano after volcano erupted. Thick clouds of ash filled the sky, and lava engulfed areas many kilometers wide, creating new landmasses. The huge amounts of gas released into the atmosphere upset climate systems and forced a fundamental change in life on Earth. Usually, volcanic eruptions of this scale result in mass extinctions. For example, the massive basalt floods in Siberia caused the Great Dying, one of the worst catastrophes the planet has ever seen. But this time, the story was written differently. Instead of bringing destruction, the eruptions at Wrangellea opened the door to an unexpected transformation that accelerated evolution on Earth. The ruthless force of nature was preparing the ground for the rise of the dinosaurs. The Rainy Age begins. Volcanoes released huge amounts of carbon dioxide and sulfur gases into the atmosphere in earth-shaking eruptions. These gases trapped the sun's rays, increasing the planet's temperature and starting irreversible changes in the climate. The magma ignited the coal deposits that had accumulated underground, and as it burned, it released enormous amounts of greenhouse gases. This greenhouse effect sharply raised the temperature of the planet and caused much more water to evaporate from the oceans. The water cycle accelerated, the sky was covered with dark clouds, and eventually a relentless rain began to fall on Pangaea that would last for millions of years. These rains gradually began to transform the barren land. Inland regions, once parched with thirst, gradually developed lakes, swamps, and lush forests. The rains swept away ecosystems that had long been adapted to drought. This was a catastrophe for many species living in that environment, but nature, as always, offered new opportunities to replace what was destroyed. The creatures that could adapt to change survived and thrived in this new wetland world. New plant species spread, new predators emerged, and most importantly, this great transformation was a major turning point that ushered in the age of the dinosaurs. Rise of the dinosaurs. The biggest beneficiaries of this great transformation were dinosaurs. Herrerasaurus, one of the oldest dinosaurs of that period, lived in the dense rainforests of South America. A small and agile predator, Herrerasaurus thrived in the newly formed ecosystem. With the humid climate, these forests spread across Pangaea. Broadleaf trees and dense vegetation provided new prey and hiding places, and dinosaurs quickly adapted to this new world. Their numbers began to increase in large open areas. Food was abundant for them. Plants were growing rapidly, increasing the number of herbivorous dinosaurs. The carnivorous species that preyed on them also multiplied rapidly. Their rivals were disappearing. Fossilized dinosaur footprints found in the Dolomites region of Italy have become one of the greatest proofs of this revolution. Research has revealed that dinosaurs were very few in the ecosystem before this event, known as the Carnian Pluvial episode, Carnian Rain Age. But with the onset of the rains, they multiplied at an extraordinary rate, making up 90% of the ecosystem. Dinosaurs, which once competed with other reptile species, had now become the dominant creatures of the planet. Rain has radically changed the balance of the planet. Arid lands turned into rich forests and vast swamps. New ecosystems formed, lakes and rivers expanded. This opened the door to a golden age for dinosaurs. Species diversity increased rapidly, and different dinosaur species evolved in each ecosystem. But the balance of nature was always in flux, and this period of abundance could not last forever. The end of the rain and a new beginning. Millions of years of rain gradually came to an end as volcanic activity at Pangaea subsided. Carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere began to fall, the skies cleared, and the climate stabilized again. But this did not mean the return of the old world. The rainy age had radically changed the Earth and its ecosystems. Dinosaurs were now the absolute rulers of this new world. Evolution molded them to adapt to the changing conditions. New forests, wetlands, and vast ecosystems favored their growth and spread. From a small and fragile group, they were now the most powerful species on land. But the rules of nature were harsh. No kingdom lasts forever. For 180 million years, dinosaurs ruled the planet, but eventually an inevitable catastrophe struck. A giant asteroid impact, volcanic eruptions, and climate change ended their reign. But the Earth didn't stop. After the dinosaurs, mammals appeared on the scene, and at the end of an evolutionary journey lasting millions of years, humanity was born. Our time travelers left our planet after witnessing the final act of this great transformation. They left behind a unique observation of Earth's endless cycles of change. This story was not an ending, but a new beginning, because the Earth, as always, would continue to be reborn and reshape life.